Hey everybody, it's me, Steve Schnee, the CD Junkie. On this episode of CD Junkie, I'm going to be talking about the group Asia. But I'm not going to be talking about the group Asia that you are probably thinking of. I'm talking about the group Asia featuring John Payne. This is sort of the second period of Asia's career. And in many ways, I think that this period needs defending. I'm not a sycophant or anything like that. But I do love this period of the band. I don't really think of it as Asia in a sense. This is not meant to be disrespectful, but I really think of it. In fact, in my iTunes, I have all the albums and all the recordings by this version of Asia listed as Asia 2. And I believe that the band did itself a disservice by calling themselves Asia, because people expected Heat of the Moment, Only Time Will Tell, Don't Cry, things like that. But when John Wetton left the band and they brought in bassist vocalist John Payne, he had a very, very different voice, and the music changed from sort of these prog leanings, sort of swerved over to the AOR, the hard rock, less proggy. But let's get into that, and we're going to start with the first album that came out in 1992. This is already after Asia had their success, and John Wetton had left for a while, that was replaced by Greg Lake. Then he came back, and Steve Howe left, and then John Wetton left again. But Jeffrey Downs, who was the keyboard player, formerly of the Buggles, he pushed for the band to continue. And what happened is they brought in John Payne, completely different sound, style, everything than John Wetton. And then, they lost their major deal, so most of the stuff was released on, smaller labels. But I'll tell you, I do love a lot of this stuff. But let's start with that first album. It came out in 1992. The album is called Aqua. And on this album, Asia features Jeff Downs on keyboards and backing vocals. Steve Howe is still in the band on this, at least partially on the album, if not most of it, on guitar and vocals. Then, of course, you also have Carl Palmer, who is playing drums for the band as well. And then John Payne on bass and vocals. There's also a guitar player on the album by the name of Al Pitrelli. And this is, like I said, it's completely different. It's kind of almost a hodgepodge of an album. It's got some great songs on it. It comes together, but it also sounds very different, and they would get more focused with every release. But this has got some really good songs on it. Again, a completely different style of music. It's more AOR, more classic rock. So by the time the next album came out, was Area, came out in 1994. By this time, the band was down to Jeffrey Downs, John Payne, Al Pitrelli, and drummer Michael Sturgis, I think, plays on this album. Again, another fine collection of songs. This is more focused, more moody. It's got some great songs on there, and they're really finding their voice. With Jeffrey Downs' musical style, kind of coming together more with John Payne's style. In 1996, the band returned with Arena, and I think this was really the album where it all came together, where they solidified the sound of this phase of Asia. And you still have the AOR. You have a little bit more of maybe some prog leanings, even some kind of smooth Steely Dan-ish vibes, and it was just the production on it's great, the songwriting's great. Again, here is the expanded packaging there. The band, of course, is Jeff Downs and John Payne, but you also have, Michael Sturgis is back on drums. Aziz Ibrahim played guitar on some of the album, as well as Elliot Randall and others. But this, I really think this is when the sound really started coming together, and just really full and quite lovely at times, just bold and very confident sounding. Now, through all these phases of the career, they had recorded a lot of stuff in the studio that didn't get released. And there were two separate Archiva releases that came out, Archiva 1, Archiva 2. This is a CD that combines them both. And I believe they both came out in 96, the same year as Arena. So there's a lot of unreleased tracks, and it shows the band's growth. Lots of good, really nice pop songs in there too, things that maybe they didn't feel fit on albums, but it showed that, they were being very, very creative. A lot of different styles. There's a song called, I think, ALO, and it sounds like that Rock and Roll is King era ELO. But yeah, it's really good collection. These are probably both available separately, Archiva 1, Archiva 2, but this is a set that contains both of them. Anyway, here's an album that's kind of strange because it's Asia Anthology. Now, there's been a lot of Asia compilations, and this is kind of like the best of what's come before, but they also re-record some of the older songs. So you're going to get Heat of the Moment, you're going to get Only Time Will Tell. I mean, they're great recordings, Don't Cry. They're great, but, I'd rather just hear a whole collection of of this era of Asia 2. In fact, I should get a marker and just write 2 down there. I'm not being disrespectful at all because I really, really do like this period of the band. There was also an album, I think, called Rare or something that was soundtrack recordings. It was all instrumental. I do not own that, but I do own their next album called Aura, which came out in the year 2000. And boy, is this something else. Oh, this is the peak of Asia 2, or Asia featuring John Payne, whatever you want to call them. This is just, it's melodic, it's lovely, it's passionate, very well produced. The songs are great, and it's just jam-packed full of great stuff. I also have to check to see if there's an expanded edition of this, because this is the only one I have. But it is wonderful. By this time, the band was John Payne, Jeff Downs, Guthrie Govan was on guitars. I think Chris Slade might be on this album. Tony Levitt plays on the album. Steve Howe plays on the album. Pat Thrall, Ian Crichton, lots of great musicians. And this, I think this probably is my favorite album as a whole from the Asia featuring John Payne era. It's really fantastic, beautifully produced. They put everything into this album, and sadly, of course, it didn't catch on. Because I think people were still going, "Oh, it's not John Wetton." I'm just going to say I love this period. Again, it's okay if you don't, but you should. Finally, the last album they recorded was in 2004. It's called Silent Nation, and this is, again, with Chris Slade and Guthrie Govan, and this is just a rockin' album. They kind of tone back on the production. It's not Aura production, but the songs are still really good. Because the thing is, I mean, Jeff Downs, what an incredible keyboard player, and he, going all the way back to the Buggles and all the stuff he did then, and now he's with Yes, and he's been involved. He had solo stuff, and he's been involved in a lot of stuff. He doesn't get a lot of credit, but super talented guy. And he was writing with John Wetton in the Icon stuff, and he was writing with John Wetton in Asia, and then here he was writing with John Payne, and all these Johns just confusing me. But Silent Nation is a wonderful album. Great album cover there. It looks like it's going back sort of a prog type cover, and but it's not really a prog type album, but there's elements of that, elements of hard rock, elements of pop, a really fine collection of songs. It's not Aura, but still, it's a wonderful album. I think the entire Asia 2, or Asia featuring John Payne era, is worthy of your time. Just get past the fact that John Wetton wasn't in the band at the time. But unfortunately and fortunately, the original Asia got back together, and that sort of left John Payne in the lurch. So he is performing now as Asia featuring John Payne. I would love to go see their gigs if they did all the Asia 2 period stuff. But, of course, to please the fans, they have to do the Only Time Will Tells and Heat of the Moments. And you know what? I would not complain. Honestly, I would not. But I know that there's some naysayers out there who said, I didn't even listen to that part of the band or that era of the band. And guess what? What I've done is I've put together a medley featuring snippets of a couple songs from each of the albums, so you can get an idea of what this period of Asia sounded like. Again, on the covers, they're called Asia. I call them Asia 2, but I guess legally now they're called Asia featuring John Payne. In any case, sit back, relax, give this a listen, and I will see you on on the other side.
Tells the wind which way to blow. I wonder who will stop the rain. The rocks that hold the secrets they don't know. So who can stop the rain? We lost the temple on Someday you may find somebody else. Someday love may shine on you. Someday you may find the one. Anytime that you call, anytime if you fall, anytime I'll be there for you. Any moment of fear, anytime say a prayer. So spend the time. Now that summer's gone, window's strong. Now that summer's gone, we must carry on. To the arena we climb, we look to the sky. To the arena we climb, you and I. To the arena we climb, we look to the sky. To the arena we climb, you and I. Help me, now I'm falling. Heal me, early morning. Help me, I'm in danger of you. Your side of love will come. When the other side is gone, walking upon my soul. Can you love never setting shore? So virtual. Machinery, but physical. Just anything you wanna see. I would never change another day. If that season was the one to
That's it. I hope this inspires you to check out this period of Asia's career. It's really worth your time. I appreciate you watching this video. Remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, to ring that bell for future notifications. And until the next time, remember me. I'm Steve Schnee, the CD Junkie.